The Raven: Revenge and the Reckoning by Jay Miller. Chapter 1: Graveside Monologue. Took me the better part of a month to get here, once I started letting go of my pride. Many long nights in the saddle and looking over my shoulder. That day, the worst day of my life. I couldn't stay to see you buried. And when I came back, I couldn't bring myself to ask anyone where they laid you to rest. Maybe I was ashamed. I left too proud to ask. So I searched, walked, wandered, and now, looks like I found you. I came in through the pass, fog and mist hanging heavy in the air. I heard that raven calling, that stopped me. Felt like the cold hand of death was laid on the back of my neck. And far off in the distance, I thought I heard a wolf howl. Could have just been the wind, but the sound was like a knife in the ribs. Brought to mind that last morning, we were sitting on the porch, drinking coffee, and that raven was perched on the post rail, staring straight at me. You laughed. You always loved birds. I should have sent that damn bird to hell. Maybe then, you'd still be here. I think about the last time we talked. You put your arms around me, laid your head on my shoulder, and whispered, "Drop that gun belt and stay here with me. Let me hold you. We'll find peace together. I love you." But I couldn't. Or maybe I wouldn't. And then, you were gone. And all I could think about was revenge. 6 years I rode hard. Never stayed in one place too long. Drifting, searching, trying to even the score. It wasn't till last year I found the man I'd been hunting. And I ain't proud to say there were several before him, the kind of men I thought the world was better off without. But it didn't fix the hole in me. Only made it feel like I'd thrown a hopper of lead in it. And at night, always the same damn dream. I hear you scream, faint, distant, somewhere deep in the hills. Then comes that raven's call. Stops me cold, and I start running, stumbling, calling your name through the brush in the dark. Then I hear the wolves. It all blurs together, just chaos and a rush. And I know I'm not going to reach you in time. I wake in a cold sweat, can't shake it, even in daylight. It sticks to me like smoke that won't wash off. I should have listened to you. Dropped the weight before it turned me into what I was hunting. But I didn't. I guess I was afraid, held on to pride, and like you said, my sins came to visit me, and the weight staggers me. If I'd done different, maybe you'd still be here. Maybe you wouldn't be under this stone, and I wouldn't be kneeling here. But I came back to the place I swore I'd never visit, and that damn raven showed up, still, watching. I haven't seen him in a long time except my dreams, but he came tonight. There's a lot I could say about what happened, but you already know. You were the only one who ever saw me and didn't try to fix me. That scared the hell out of me. But still, you stayed, and I let you. I never said thank you, never said I love you, never said I'm sorry. No chance to say goodbye. So here I am, kneeling in these dark woods, ghosts at my back, looking for the words to make it right. And I'm saying it now. I loved you, and I never stopped. I'm tired. The raven's still here, watching, waiting. Chapter 2: Let It Die Quiet. I needed a drink. Bad. Damn bad. It'd been 6 years since I rode into this town, but I still knew it. Knew how the streets went quiet after sundown. Knew how trouble sat still until you kicked up against it. There were men still hunting me. Some would recognize me, and some, I just didn't want knowing who I was. Not after how I left here. So I pulled my coat tight, tied the bandana over my face, and eased my horse to the hitching rail outside the saloon. As I swung down, my boots crunched louder than I liked. That damn raven landed behind me. He's been following me since I left her grave. I've been thinking about putting a bullet in his worthless hide, but I couldn't bring myself to do it. Not yet. The saloon doors stood open, warm light spilling out into the cold. Piano was dead, voices low, a place waiting to get loud if the wrong word got said. I stepped up onto the boards. The floor creaked. Inside, a few faces turned and turned right back. I wasn't here to stir fire, just warm my hands and pour a stiff drink down my gullet. Through the open doorway, I saw a man on a stool near the end of the bar, hat low, boots polished, fingers wrapped loose around a glass, beady eyes watching everything. Didn't move. But he clocked me. I shouldered in and walked slow to the bar, laying my hands flat, palms down. Barkeep looked up from polishing a glass. "What'll it be?" he asked, eyes flicking over the bandana, then back to my eyes. "Rye," I said. He nodded once and poured. The man on the stool shifted. Not much, but enough. Didn't look at me, but I felt the weight. Even with that, my mind wandered. back to her. How she once stepped up to that saloon door, right there, and said my name soft and low. I got up and left with her, just like always. Didn't say what she meant to me. Just showed her best I could. Wasn't enough. I knew it even then. Now it's just me, my horse, and that damn raven. And I don't even like the son of a bitch. You always drink alone, stranger? Came a voice to my left. I glanced. Saw his eyes now, sharp, familiar, like a man who remembered old debts. Most folks don't make good company, I said. You from around here? No, and I won't be staying. He turned back to his drink, but his mouth twitched like he was thinking hard. Then the stool scraped. You look familiar, he said. Knew a man wore a bandana like that once. Didn't end well. I let my coat shift just enough to show the Colt in my shoulder holster. Might have been me, I said. Might have ended worse for you. He looked at me for the first time. Long enough for the barkeep to exhale slow. Let it be, Dan, the barkeep said under his breath. Dan stared, then turned back to his drink. Smart man. I downed the rye in one go. Didn't help, didn't hurt, just burned. Left a coin on the bar. Didn't say a word. As I stepped out onto the porch, the cold air grabbed me by the throat. The wind carried the smell of horses and smoke. The raven flapped once, settled on the rail watching. I stared at him. He stared back. Thought maybe I'd hear her voice again, like before. But all that stirred was the wind and a loose shutter somewhere up the street. 6 years back, this was where I should have stayed. She'd asked me to, pleaded even. Said we could build something, raise chickens, tend a little stretch of land, live quiet. How I'd gotten this awful mess, I wasn't certain. I wasn't made for quiet back then. Didn't know I could bleed without a bullet in me. Thought I'd make it right later. But later never showed. I stepped off the porch and started walking. Just the sound of boots on dirt. Past the old church, windows boarded, past the smithy, gone cold, past the stable where I first kissed her. That corner was still there. Just the wood was older. She used to run her fingers through my hair like she was trying to smooth out the wild. I used to let her. She said my eyes scared her, said they looked like a storm waiting to break. She wasn't wrong. And now I'd come back to this place, not to fight, not to fix anything, just to bury something. I knew who that troublemaker in the bar was. Name was Dan Hobson. He'd been part of the crew I used to ride with, back when we weren't much better than wolves ourselves. But there'd been trouble, and I rode out and hadn't seen him since. I wasn't proud of ever having been associated with a killer like Dan. That part I never told anyone, not even her. I'd come here tonight to let all that go. I'd been thinking to put that part of my life behind me. I didn't want blood spilled on the clean floor and me having to leave in a rush. I tipped my hat, pulled it low, and kept walking. And then, far off in the hills, it came. Low at first, then rising. A long, slow howl. The old Lobo wolf, crying into the night. That sound hung there, high, stretched out like a grudge, then fading into nothing. The town stood still behind me. Lights flickering from windows, casting slats of gold onto the dust. No one out, no one watching. Even a ghost passing through would have stepped quiet. I didn't stop, didn't look back, just walked on and let it die quiet. The Church, Chapter 3. From the Raven, Revenge, and the Reckoning. Night was coming on quick. Me and old Buck Dunn made about 126 miles, I reckon, from where her grave was. We were heading east, and it was already dark when I pulled into this little town. It was quiet, and I could see shadows everywhere. Hadn't seen the Raven all day, which I thought a good sign. But I saw a church down at the end of the street, with light streaming out of the doors and windows. Eased on up across the boardwalk and hitched him to a post and swung off. When my feet hit dirt, I grunted. A little pain from sitting in the saddle too long had started taking hold. I stretched and walked down to the edge of the street, looking to see if anybody was in that church. I couldn't see a soul. As I stood there, my mind drifted to her. She went to church, not every Sunday, but a lot of them. And I never went. Sometimes I'd walk with her and then stay out under the trees till it was over, but I never went inside one. Hadn't been in one since I was 12 years old. I just stood there looking at that light and wondering what was going on. Finally, my curiosity got the best of me, and I eased up to that front door and looked in. Looked like a church, kind of like I thought one would look. Wooden benches on each side and an aisle up the front to the pulpit, not a soul inside. I thought. Wonder what's going on. I stepped in. Place was low lit, couldn't see much. Didn't know whether to sit down in the back or walk to the front, but I walked a couple steps and then thought better of it and just ducked into one of them wooden benches and sat down. I didn't know why. I hadn't prayed in many a year. But I thought about it, and then I laid my head back against the rest and closed my eyes. It was dark outside. The town looked kind of strange like this. I couldn't see the light from the church anymore. When I heard a scream way out yonder in the hills, I knew that scream. The hair on my neck stood up like an old hunting dog when it smelled a bear. I knew who it was, and I started running. I hit the timber, branches hitting me in the face, and I started calling out her name as loud as I could. Then I heard that damn raven call, and that sound spooked me. I broke out of the timber across an open valley, crossed that thing in no time, and was heading up the rocks on the other side. Then I heard the wolves. Sounded like a bunch of them. They weren't far from where I heard the scream. Now I really began to run, brush smacking me in the face, tripping, falling. I cut my knee. Could feel warm blood running down my leg as I leapt from boulder to boulder, trying to get there. Then I heard it, like those wolves had just hit a wounded deer. And then the screaming started. I jumped upright, my head whacking the side of the headrest on the back of the bench. I shook my head, trying to see where I was. And then I remembered. The church. I must have fell asleep. My heart was pounding like thunder, and my throat was dry and felt like it had a rock in it. It was all I could do to keep it from choking me. I was gasping for air, trying to drag some into my lungs. I just leaned my head against the bench in front of me, trying to catch my breath. For a long time, I stayed still, just thinking. Hell, I hadn't talked to God in such a long time. I couldn't remember when. I figured he probably quit talking to me about the time I quit talking to him. But before I even knew what was happening, I heard my voice cracking in the darkness. Well, old man, I ain't asking you to save me. I ain't looking for an easy road. I'm just looking for a road forward, just a path to start down. And that was all. I stayed there for a minute, then slowly got up, my knees popping like old timber, my back sore. I stretched, and then as I walked out of that bench, I reached over and touched the one beside it, gave it a little nod in recognition. I couldn't say that I felt like a free man, but I did feel just a little bit of peace for the first time in a long time. I passed out the door, crossed the street. Buck was waiting on me, flicking his ears in the dark. I untied him, swung into the saddle, eased him off across the boardwalk again, and headed east.